Welcome back, everyone. I am super excited by this session because I'm joined by leaders from 3 trailblazing companies to talk about the importance of purpose. Defining purpose in slogans and statements is the easy part. What makes purpose real is following through on its implications and letting it guide the choices you make. It's not about what you do, but why. It defines an organization's core reason for being. The importance of purpose to business success isn't just a theory, it's been proven by study after study, greatly improving job satisfaction and engagement. With this in mind, we have invited 3 leaders at the forefront of cause-led businesses to discuss the value of leading with purpose and what it gives to its leaders, employees, and customers. So a huge welcome to David McDowall, President and COO of Brewdog, Jane Shepherdson, Chair of My Wardrobe HQ, and Joe Tutchener-Sharp, CEO and founder of Scamp Dude. Welcome, all 3 of you. Thank you very much for joining us. Let's kick off straight away. There's been an awful lot of talk of purpose over the last couple of days, but of course I'm really intrigued to understand what purpose means to you. David, maybe if we can start with you, because purpose and the beliefs of Brewdog are incredibly visible across all of your marketing, your website at the moment. So have they always been really core to the business, and how has that been brought to life within the company?
Well, the answer to that, Chris, is yes, they have. They have always been really core to what we do. And one of the things that we really believe is that it's very difficult to retrofit purpose or mission, our ethos or values into a business in a way that is truly authentic. So from day one, I mean, this business was founded by 2 men and a dog back in 2007, and we now have 2,000 people in the team, and we export beer to 65 countries around the world. And day one, the purpose of the business was to make other people as passionate about great craft beer as we are. And that's still at the center of every single decision that we make right now. And I think that a really crucial thing is that I think purpose is sometimes emboldened and amplified by the things that we don't do as a business. So for us, leaders have to really have the power and ability to cut off their nose to spite their face and walk away from opportunities that are not aligned with the purpose, what they believe in, and their reason for existing. So I think we amplify the internal message and external message about our purpose even more powerfully from the things that we don't do, as opposed to also the things that we do.
And you really push also your beliefs as well, don't you? They're very visible. That's something that companies don't always do. Quite often, beliefs are quite internal-facing instruments. But I was really intrigued to see your beliefs so present on the company's literature.
Yeah, and we believe that building a meaningful connection with a group of consumers is incredibly powerful and valuable, and we think that we do that more readily if we attract a group of consumers who believe what we believe. And in order to do that, we have to be prepared to put our head above the parapet every now and again, speak out for what we believe in, do that hopefully in a fun and irreverent and interesting way, and also do it in a way that helps us build the brand. But we've never been afraid to wear our heart on our sleeves, and that's a really important part of the DNA of our culture.
Absolutely. I love the idea of not being afraid to wear your heart on your sleeve. And Joe, your purpose is a very personal one, born of your own life experience. It'd be great just to go into that in some detail and understand, therefore, what purpose means to you and the organisation.
Yeah, so Scamp Dude was founded out of a big life-changing event that I went through. So 5 years ago, I suffered a brain hemorrhage and discovered I'd got a lump on my brain. So I had to face brain surgery, and my children were just 1 and 3 at the time. So firstly, the thought of leaving them without a mother was just horrendous and life-changing. But the other thing that really changed me was, it's true what people say when you are facing death. You do go to those pearly gates and you look at your life, and it's not the things you think it is. Like, did I go traveling enough? Did I do it? It wasn't anything like that. It was, I had this real burning feeling that, did I do enough good? Have I helped enough people? And have I made a difference? And I didn't even realize those. I don't mean I'm not a nice person. I just mean those things hadn't come into my mind before then, particularly. But at that point, when I thought it actually might be too late to make a change, that's all I could think about. So I made a pact with myself that if I made it through my surgery, my next career would be doing something that helped people in some way. And the whole thing, so I came out of the surgery, I made it through, thankfully. And the biggest thing I couldn't stop thinking about was my children, and I couldn't see them for 10 days. This whole side of my head was shaved. I had 20 staples down my head. I looked like Frankenstein. I couldn't let them see me like that. So being apart from them for 10 days was very hard for me, but I was more worried about the children, how hard it was for them. And all I kept thinking was, I wish I could have given them a little superhero to watch over them. And imagine if it was a little cuddly toy that I could have given them. And then I kept thinking, imagine if I had a pocket on the back and I could have put my photo so I could say, Mummy's still here. Look, Mummy, you can snuggle onto me. I'm right there, and a superhero is watching over you. So that was the first little thought, and I kept thinking, oh my goodness, imagine if I could make these and I could donate one for every one sold to a child who does lose a parent, because I felt so lucky that I'd made it through the surgery and I was alive. I know so many people don't, and so many children lose parents. So the stats are horrible when you go into them, and I thought I need to help these kids and the parents who know that their children are suffering. So that was the start, and it spurred me on as well as like a get well goal to make these. They're called superhero sleep buddies. Here they are. They're little superheroes, and there's a pocket here where you can put your photo. And that's how it started. And then as I was developing it, I thought I want a clothing line to go with it, because I wanted to be able to help kids who had to be apart from their parents. So going to school, going to nursery, anytime they have separation anxiety. So I came up with the slogan, a superhero has my back, and it's on the back of T-shirts, and it's inside of sweatshirts, and giving kids the courage and the strength when they have to be apart from their loved ones. And that's how it started. But then as we've grown, like we're nearly 5 years old now, like our women's wear collection has skyrocketed, and it's now over 80% of our collection. And it feels like adults want a superhero to have their back too. We have our superpower button, which is this embroidered neon bolt on everything. And the amount of messages I get from adults saying they're pressing their superpower button, because we say press your superpower button. It was really meant for kids to give yourself some superpowers, but adults like to give a little press as well and get their superpowers. And we like to say we fill people with superpowers, and our clothes are uplifting and just give people that boost when they need it.
I mean, it's such an inspiring story, and of course, it's such a fabulous business as well, and it's been a delight to watch it grow over the last few years. Is that sense of purpose whilst you've been growing commercially? Does it remain your absolute North Star, though?
It definitely does, yeah. Like the Sleep Buddies is always a core. We've donated over 3,000 of them now. And I also launched Super Scarves, because I've built relationship with so many mothers whose children are poorly, because we also donate them to children that are seriously ill too. We work with the Alder Hay Hospital in Great Ormond Street. And the relationships I've built with the mothers of these children who are poorly, I've realised that actually it's so hard for them that their beloved child is so poorly, but also they feel so alone. And I wanted to be able to, they love being sent a Sleep Buddy for their child, but I wanted to send them something too. So we launched our Super Scarves, and they're some leopard and lightning bolt scarves that for every one sold, we donate one to a mother of a child with cancer, or a woman who is seriously ill themselves. And it's just to wrap them up in like a big hug, basically. So you're giving them a scarf that they just feel like someone's thinking of them and someone's got their back. And they're the key, the kind of core of our brand. But also the purpose goes through everything we do, as in, does this make you feel good? Does this fill you with superpowers? Is this uplift? Everything has to follow through with that, definitely.
And Jane, I'm absolutely fascinated by your career journey. You've been one of the most celebrated sort of retail fashion leaders, certainly in my time within the sector. And you've been at the forefront of some of the biggest brands on the high street. You're now chair of a business that's actually trying to encourage us to shop less and rent more. What's your relationship been with purpose, and has that changed over the course of your career?
That's an interesting question. I think I'm not sure that it's changed, but it's become, it's moved to the forefront of what I do, if you like. And I was interested to hear Jo saying that she suddenly thought, oh my God, how much good have I done? I haven't done enough. And I guess I had a period where I felt that as well. I mean, I've always absolutely loved fashion, you know, and really enjoyed all my time in the sort of the bigger businesses, and within those businesses have tried to be as genuine and as authentic as possible, in terms of trying to treat people in the right way, trying to give my customers the best possible thing that they could have, in, you know, ahead of perhaps looking at the profits. But I think it's very difficult, as David said earlier, it's very difficult to take a big organization and change it. And it's much easier to start something yourself that incorporates everything that you believe in. And I suppose I had a kind of epiphany after I left Whistles. And I was traveling for a while, and I was using Airbnbs all the time. And I just thought, this is ridiculous. You know, why isn't there an Airbnb for clothes? I still want to really enjoy them. I love fashion, but you know what we're doing to the planet is criminal. It really is. So there has to be a way that I can use the experience that I've gained over the last few years, to try and perhaps even nudge people's behaviour just a little tiny bit into rental, which would make such a big impact on the fashion industry as a whole. So I suppose it's always been there. It's always been something that I've wanted to incorporate in the business. But this time, this business is just purpose. You know, I mean, it really is. What we're trying to do is to move people away from their terribly damaging behaviour into something that is still really enjoyable, but also has less of an impact.
And how explicit is your purpose in terms of your relationship with your customers?
It's very explicit. I mean, in fact, most of our customers feel the same way that we do, and that's really important. And actually, when we've looked at collaborations with other brands, it's something that we have to take really seriously, because our customers will not have it if the brand that we're proposing to do a collaboration with hasn't got the same values and the same standards as we have. So it's a kind of a two-way street. They're telling us what they want us to do, and in return we're making strides to make sure that everything that we do is as environmentally friendly as it could possibly be. And you know, I will hold my hands up here. We're not perfect. We know that. We know that there's still things that we've got to do in terms of delivering our product. We use ozone cleaning at the moment, which is better than dry cleaning, but it's still not perfect. So you know, and we're taking the advice of our customers, and we're sort of at one with them, if you like.
Right, I see. And David, what about you? It's the relationship with your customer base. How much of that is built upon the purpose and the causes that you believe in at Brewdog, and how much of it is actually just product and the quality of the product that you're providing?
I think we've tried to forge a relationship with consumers where the two things in some way go hand in hand, and we've not always got that balance right. But I mean, there was a recent YouGov survey that I liked that showed that a consumer was 4 times more likely to pick a Brewdog off of a shelf than to pick a Heineken off of a shelf. And the two primary reasons for that were the indices around how meaningful is that brand to you, and how obvious is the core purpose of that brand. So I think we try to do the two things hand in hand. And for us, we've always really firmly believed that business can and should be a force for good. And like Jane was just talking about, actually, we have not been perfect by any manner of means, but we've been very action orientated, and we've always tried to use our platform to talk about the things that we believe in, just to try and nudge people in the right direction. Sustainability has always been at the core of what we have believed in, and that's really ramped up over the last maybe 36 months or so. You know, we firmly believe that the most successful beer brand in 5 years' time and the most sustainable beer brand will be the same thing. And a lot of what we're trying to do is to do the right thing internally from an environmental perspective, but also to use our platform to have, and as kind of humble a way as possible, an impact on other people and nudge consumers and other businesses, hopefully, in the right direction in their decision making.
And I guess it's really easy to write the purpose, write the beliefs, but actually translating that down into action on an everyday basis, how easy or difficult is that? And what steps do you have to take to make sure that that's happening in a way that's ingrained in the culture?
For me, that is about having an absolutely relentless and stubborn approach to living and breathing those values. And so for us, the simple day-to-day decisions are all imbued with a real sense of purpose. And we walk away from so many things that commercially look like good opportunities, but don't live and breathe our purpose. So we have a thing called the Brewdog focus test that we always talk about, which is, if a project or a piece of activity can't tick these two boxes, then we don't do it. And the boxes are, is it aligned with our mission? And two, can we try and do this better than anyone else on the planet? So if we can't forge ahead on both of those things, then it probably isn't the right thing for us to do. And I think when the team see that type of decision making and we role model that type of decision making, then one of the things that I'm most proud about is when I see that happening at various levels of our business all around the world.
Yes, absolutely. Joe, what I've always liked about your business and the way that you've communicated is that it's never felt like a branding exercise. It's never felt gimmicky or just a PR exercise. How have you ensured that that's been the case?
Well, I think because it is real. I think that's the easy answer to that, is that the messaging comes directly from me. I run the Instagram account still. So I think if the messaging is created by me, and therefore it is real and it comes from the heart. And I think when we were talking before about how it is a lot easier for small businesses to have real purpose, I think it's easier if the purpose is real and it actually comes from the heart. And I think that's harder for bigger brands, because how do you find a purpose that everyone absolutely believes in and lives and breathes? I mean, I can literally feel my heart change when I see these messages from the parents of these children, and I can see the pictures of these children in the hospital. I can feel it. How can you find a purpose in a big business that every single member of the board and every single member of the team feels like that about? It's so hard. So I think it's easier for me, brands like mine, where the purpose has come very organically and it's very, very real. And there's only 12 of us in my team, and each one is handpicked, and I make sure that they are the right kind of person who has the same kind of values and the same heart, and so totally gets this and is behind it, and it's important in everything they're doing as well.
Jane, as we come out the other side of this pandemic, we've spoken a lot over the last couple of days about this opportunity to reset as a society and industry. Do you buy into the concept that we're at a tipping point here, that there is a chance to do things differently? And if so, how do we galvanise an entire sector to start behaving in a different way?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I kind of do believe it. I'm an eternal optimist, so I do believe that something will happen. The way I look at it, certainly with just in terms of fashion retail, if you like, is that we've all kind of been addicted for quite a long time to these sort of hits of fashion as much as we want them. And I think this pandemic has sort of almost made us go cold turkey. I know you can still buy from ASOS and Boohoo, but for the rest of us, we've sort of gone cold turkey because, let's face it, there's nobody to show our purchases to. So what's the point? And so I think some of that, I think going cold turkey is a hard thing to do, but we've been forced to do it. So I think it will have an impact. Certainly for me, I now sort of think to myself, do I really need that or not? And I think actually, weirdly, although rental it hasn't happened at all over the pandemic, because there's been no point in renting something if you're not going anywhere. But I think people's perception of rental and people's sort of feelings about rental have got stronger, which is a strange thing to have happened, considering we haven't actually been doing it. And I think they quite like the idea of it, and perhaps because they've been sort of in their sweatshirts and jeans all day, and they quite like the idea of borrowing something amazingly beautiful and then giving it back again afterwards. Yeah, I'm positive. I think people have seen a bit of a change, and I think the cycle's been broken, and I think now's the opportunity for us to sort of get out there and make sure that we keep it moving.
And I've certainly noticed all conversations I've had, people that have joined our own organisation over the last year, that there are a lot of employees and colleagues who are re-evaluating the kinds of businesses they actually want to work for. So it's not necessarily just about where you want to shop, but where you want to work as well. What is in it for the individual? What's in it for the individual employee, Jane, to work for a business with such a strong sense of purpose?
I think it gives your life meaning. I don't think you can really underestimate it. I really don't. I think it, if I look at every single person within our business, it gives them a reason to get up in the morning. But what's fascinating as well is that I also work for the London Fashion Fund, where we invest in small sustainable businesses in London, and we get pitched to a lot of the time, and it's so easy to see the difference between businesses where they're doing it just because they want to make money, and those people that are doing it because they really care passionately about something, and their teams really care passionately about something. And it's like night and day. It really is. There's such a massive difference. I think having a purpose, I mean, what are we here for? A purpose is what we need to get through life.
Jo, would you share that sentiment? Do you sense a big difference for the people that work around you now than those that might have done in your previous career?
Yeah, absolutely. Like my team are I always share any gorgeous messages I get from the parents or the kids, or people just saying, I've put on it for a Zoom interview today and I got the job and I feel like my superpowers did it. We get so many amazing, but such a wonderful community. And I share all of these messages with the whole team on WhatsApp every single time. So they're constantly throughout the day getting these up, and they're just like, this is why we do this, what we do. And it's so uplifting. And it's them doing it as well. It's not just me. And that's what I want to make sure they all know, right? This is what we're doing. This is why we're doing this. And that you don't mind working so hard then when you're actually making a difference.
And David, what about you and the people at Brewdog? Are they even more engaged in the organisation as a result of your sustainability goals, a result of, you've just joined B Corp, I see, as well, which is amazing. Is that something that colleagues have been keen for you to do?
Well, I think when you really know that the culture is strong in the business, when the team push you and drive you in the right direction, and it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. And for us, this business was founded with a simple mission to take a category that had become commoditized for decades and try and put the artisan craftsmanship and flavor and taste back into people's beer glasses. So from day one, there's been such a spirit of insurgence, and we've achieved some good things. We think we're only getting started, but we've achieved some good things. And we've only been able to do that because of the drive and tenacity and ingenuity and spirit of the thousands of people in our team who have helped us along the way. And I see that becoming stronger as the years go by. And I think it's a really good get out of jail clause for bigger businesses as they get bigger, to say it's hard to stay true to our purpose. Well, yeah, it's hard. It really is hard, but there's so much reason to do it, because if you get it right, you stand up head and shoulders above your competitors in terms of that crucial connection with consumers. So we couldn't have got anywhere near where we've got to right now and have the audacious plans we have for the future if it wasn't for that incredible galvanized spirit of the team.
Fantastic. And look, we're going to have to finish it there, but it's been such a wonderful session. The passion and enthusiasm from all three of you. I mean, the only thing that I think is a shame is that we couldn't be all together in the studio, because it would have been fabulous to have you here. But the passion and enthusiasm comes through so loudly and strongly, even on camera. So thank you so much for joining us. A wonderful session. And look, I look forward to people watching this session, because I think they'll get so much from it as well. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.